next up on the bench, going to stay in the world of Warhammer 40,000, but get off the Eldari or Space Marine kick for a bit. I'll be working on the Demon Prince from the Slaves of Darkness kit. In this case, I'll be building him as a Warhammer 40k variant, using the variant head for Slaanesh, as I fully intend him to be going head-to-head with my avatar of Cain. I'll be adding a couple of, I'll likely try to add at least, a couple of Daemonettes to the base. And this guy himself has quite a bit of plastic that goes with him. Of course, part of that's because you've got options for wings, you've got options for hooves or talons, as well as five different head options. So, a lot of these parts will not wind up getting used. But it should turn out to be a good miniature when it's done. We'll see. Okay, and here we are after the first page from the instructions. There's a lot of detail packed in here. Got his tail on. No tail tip yet, but that comes when you decide which variant you want to do. The legs and torso to reach this stage are a bit fiddly. Just warning anybody else trying to do this kit. It can get tricky. Just be patient. It will go together. Sadly, the piece that's supposed to go across the top of that knee plate has disappeared into the carpet monster. So if I find it later, I'll put it on. If I don't, I won't. All right, at this point, he's on the base. He's got his tactical rock and his hooves, as well as his neck. From here's where we diverge to the 40k version of this. All right, at this point, we now have arms. That one will be the weapon, the melee weapon arm. This one has the distance attack and will get a hand claw. Slowly but surely, things are coming into play. And at this stage, raw construction is finished. Weapons are in place. Slaanesh sickle is in place, along with the Slaaneshi head, complete with its double set of horns. The massive wings are in place. Originally, I was hoping to use at least the centerpiece of the backpack, but it won't fit between the wings, and I don't feel like carving things up to make it work. All in all, I'm very happy with how this turned out. Big challenge is going to be paint. Alright, one slightly out of focus construction update. I was never able to find the knee plate that went in this slot, but leaving that groove there just wasn't an option. So what I did is I took what was going to be the crotch armor of the fantasy version and trimmed it down so only the top part of it was left. And there we go. Glued it into place, and once I put a little sprue goo in there, we'll have a nice replacement armor piece. Alright, here we are after a coat of AK Interactive Black Primer and a dusting of Vallejo White. We are primed and pretty much ready to go with main paint. We've also done the same treatment with the little lady who's going to get to share his base. She was the lead Daemonette from the box set, and she'll go right about there in the gap between his feet. You know, right about there. I already tested it for size. She will fit. But alright, after the first run in probably years with the airbrush, I've gone through with a thin down mix of Army Painter Pale Flesh to deliver a base coat to most of what I consider to be the bare skin areas. Obviously, in a couple of cases, I've gone over on the cloth as well, but it's a good start. We'll continue the work. Alright, went in and hit the flash tone areas with some Army Painter Hive Dweller Purple Speed Paint. Decided I'd gone a little heavy with that, so I hit it again with the Thin Down Pale Flash. All in all, I am really liking how this has come out. I like the fact that it's got gradients in it. I like the fact that it's not consistent, which for a demon is just perfect. This will be pretty much it for the airbrush work. I am not confident enough in my skills with the airbrush to even think about painting any more with it. I hit her claws with the Hive Dweller Purple too. All in all, I'm very happy with how these are looking. And we'll start brush painting here. Alright, got the first bit of detail painting done. As you can see, I've used the pink to accent the inside of the blade. The main armor color is Army Painter's Hive Dweller Purple. The loincloth is a mix of the purple and the pink. In the case of the bony spurs, I've used a thin down white over the flesh tone I've done. I've also done that over all of the various and sundry skulls he's carrying. I have yet to start on any of the metallics. And of course, on his companion, we've done similar treatment, although I used the familiar pink on her hair as well. Her claws got the same treatment as his. So far, so good. I am not going to rush this. Alright, after what turned into several weeks, I've got all the painting done on the Greater Daemon of Slaanesh. Well, not Greater Daemon, Demon Prince. Greater Daemon of Slaanesh is an entirely different model, and I haven't got any plans on going after that one. Now, I have gotten the metallics painted. I got the rest of the detail work done. Wound up having, I did a dark wash or a purple wash over the whole model and wound up being too dark, so I wound up having to go through and dry brush some of it. But as I'm starting to ramble, we'll just cut to the reveal here, and we'll call the build of the Demon Prince. There's a whole lot of gold on him, which in some cases would probably be more of a copper color, but this guy is from Slaanesh, so gold it is. Down by his feet is a lucky Daemonette. I've jokingly referred to her during the build as his girlfriend. You can see the purple wash over the bony parts turned out all right, but it wound up making things like his flesh and the gold parts too dark. So the flesh got dry brushed, as did the gold. One thing the dry brushing let me do was pick out the spars of his wings and leave the membranes dark. Realized as I was finishing up last night that section of armor over his tail, I hadn't painted his armor, so I dealt with that. My recommendation to anybody going through and actually trying to build and paint this guy, don't put the wings on until you're done with the painting, because it made getting at some of the rear details very, very difficult. Now, one of the reasons I picked this guy up was to pair him off against what I consider to be one of his greater rivals, or greater challenges, depending on your perspective, the Avatar of Cain from the Eldari, more accurately the Asuryani. But as you can see, the Avatar does have a distinct size advantage. But all in all, I'm liking how the Demon Prince turned out. The base, I glued her down, painted the tactical rock, and discovered a few skulls around it. The base is actually unbrewed tea that I specifically bought, humorously enough, to use for that purpose. Now that I can sense I'm rambling, I will go ahead and throw some stills at the end of this, and thank you all for watching.